Hello and good day, everyone. Today we have a pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Nidhi Ruparelia, ma'am, a consultant aesthetic dentist and endodontist, and much more. Remarkable thing that she's also a TED Talk speaker, making waves in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. Welcome, ma'am, to the show. Hello,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. First of all, I would like to thank you for, giving me this opportunity to have this session with me today. And I'm really happy that we could do a small but lovely interview together.
Oh, well, ma'am, pleasure is all ours. So, kicking off things, could you just share how your journey in dentistry began? I mean, what inspired you to pursue this field, and were there any challenges that you faced in your early days?
First of all, journey of dentistry for me began at home. I come from a background where my father is an advocate, but my uncle is a prosthodontist. So as a child, I was always exposed to dentistry. So I still remember when I was a kid, I used to visit his clinic and I used to see how things would work. So I was always, looking forward to be a dentist someday. And yeah, it was decided that I am going to be a dentist someday. So that is how after my 12th standard, I got into my graduation, my undergraduation. But it's just that I had to travel approximately 350 to 400 kilometers away from my home, as I come from a very small town where we don't have such good colleges. So, by that time, I was in my hometown with my parents, always shielded from the hardships of the life and cut down to your graduation days. You shift to a different city, a metropolitan city with new friends and atmosphere around. So, initial days, it took me a little while to settle in into the atmosphere. But once I did, I was thorough with all the 3, 4 years, and it was a nice, smooth journey because I was very much sincere and studious from the very beginning. But internship was the time where I had to make a choice for myself because during our final years, we do realize that we have a subject where we have more inclination towards. There is a subject or two which grabs our attention more. And for me, there was a difference between periodontics and endodontics because I loved both these subjects equally. So that was a moment for me where I had to make the choice. And of course, endodontics was always my priority. And hence I got into my PG. For my post-graduation, I shifted to Gandhinagar. So again, a different set of people with a whole new different environment. PG life is somewhat demanding. It is not a bed full of roses. It is difficult because you have to manage your clinical practice and you have to be academically sound. You have to work on your theses, your seminars, and everything. So yeah, it took a lot from me, but I guess I have managed to do everything nicely so far.
Wow, ma'am. First of all, kudos to you that you are a dentist by your own choice, but not forced to take dentist because you didn't get MBBS like others. So, kudos to you, ma'am. Well, ma'am, why endo only? Matlab, you had some keen interest into it, or what? Something motivated you, maybe?
See, I'll tell you what, I feel that no bias, but I feel that endodontics is a branch in dentistry where the Indian population, we don't have preventive dentistry. We don't have preventive dentistry. This is not a concept with Indian population till now. So patients would always walk to us when they are in extreme pain or they have something which is hampering their routine to their lifestyle. So when patient walks into you with a lot of pain, sleepless nights, have been struggling it since days and ignoring, and when you could treat them and when they go back smiling out of the clinic, being relieved with all the pain, I guess for me it was magic. I was always awestruck by how beautiful you could do because you get all the good wishes and blessings from the patients that you have finally made them very much comfortable and they are able to perform their lifestyle nicely. So for me, that was something which was very rewarding. That is why endodontics was always a choice for me.
Wow, ma'am, that's quite relatable. Now, moving forward, something to very exciting part that you have achieved remarkable feats, including being an opening TED Talks speaker. So, I would like to ask you that how did you get that opportunity and what was your experience like?
So I gave my TED talk back in 2019 in TEDx Lakotalik Jamnagar. Now 2019 was the first year of my post-graduation, and during our post-graduation we are supposed to present various papers and posters at conferences. So that is the time we are, looking forward to do some research to explore more about dentistry. So I was just going through a topic which was about robotics in dentistry. And hence, since I was in endodontics, dug down more into robotics in endodontics. So I did present a poster on robotic and endodontics, and I got prize for the same. But it was really amazing how robotics could do all the procedures, and we could, just sit back and relax. So I was more into research at that point of time, and I just happened to came across TEDx, where the theme for that year was an idea which was different from different from everything. So TEDx is basically every year they organize TED Talks, and every year they have different themes. And I felt that the idea that I was doing my research on very much fit to the theme of TED Talk that year. Hence, I applied for the same. I got accepted for it. And a day before the actual TED Talk event, we all had to give our, a practice session in front of all the speakers so that they could give some good, fruitful insights on each other's talk. And at that point of time, everyone loved the idea so much that they decided to give me the slot of the open speaker. So this is how I got into TED Talk.
Wow, ma'am. So, how was your experience? Like, that's not very common, a dentist speaking in a TED talk. So, how did it feel like? And what was the
It
feedback from
has
the maybe the audience?
audience actually they are absolutely amazed by how our dentistry has been evolving and how because it is like they did 4 years, 5 years back, where artificial intelligence was not this much known to people, So they were absolutely amazed by how something like this could be next future of dentistry. And my TED talk has been, giving me good fruitful results after that. After that, I have been into research. People have been, in constant touch with me on to explore the genre more and to go more into depth and details of them. So yeah,
So, overall, it was a great experience because, like, I can
absolutely
understand.
amazing.
Just thinking about that gives me a goosebumps that being an opening TED Talk speaker. Well, congratulations for that, and you go on
Thank
very
you. Thank
high
you.
places and speak about dentistry maybe. Well, ma'am, now you are a full time consultant. Well, you are breaking all the stereotypes. Generally, females in our India are not full time consultant, as we see. So, what
Yeah.
challenges do you face, and how do you manage to overcome them while maintaining a balance in your life, which is an important part of a female, Indian female, to be very specific?
As you have rightly mentioned, I have been breaking the stereotype because starting from my home, my parents were a little reluctant because for them, the basic idea of mere being a dentist was to open up a clinic. And as I've mentioned, my uncle is a prosthodontist, so I have my own clinic, but it is in a different city. My parents did wanted me to open up a clinic and practice, कि they were like कि शांति से बैठ के practice करो आराम से क्या भागा दौड़ी करने की जरूरत है and this and that. But I was very much sure and I was very much, I was very much adamant about my decision because I always wanted to explore the each and every aspect of endodontics because for me, what I felt was 3 years is not a time that you learn each and everything. Endo is very beautiful. It is a branch which gives you a lot of surprises. surprises you in a way you could have never imagined. And the special cases, for example, dancing vaginismus, cases like petrification, lower premolars with 3 canals, 4 canals. These are the cases if I would have opened up my own clinic and were waiting for patient to walk in with such anatomical variations would not have been possible. So I was very much sure that I want to explore every nook and corner of endodontics. So that tomorrow, if option walks into my clinic, this is not a case I would not have handled before. So I wanted to take more of this, and I'll tell you one thing. In EDS, we are taught what not to do, like what mistakes we are not supposed to do. For example, we are not supposed to do any perforation. As a BDS, we should be knowing when not to separate the file, but as an EDS, you should know how to rectify those mistakes. So, being a consultant was the only way how I could have, carved my niche through each and every aspect of endodontics. And being a consultant, yes, has pros and cons. It is not an easy task. Starting with, for example, say, endodontics is very much, I'll give you a good example. Endodontics is very much relatable to cricket. Say, for example, a batsman, if he is performing in his home pitch, he could do great, he could do amazing, but if it is in a pitch which is away from home, he could fail. So same goes with a consultant. If you are in your own set of clinic with your own atmosphere and your well-trained assistants who are trained of performing the treatment according to you, then you are at very much ease. But here I am traveling almost 100 kilometers every day, traveling from one city to another city at different clinics with a different work environment, different chair with a different set of assistants who maybe are not well versed with all the instruments and the techniques and the procedures that I'm doing. So managing that is little exhausting, but it is wonderful on the same side. And being consultant has some difficulties, but apart from that, I don't have much liabilities on top of my head. Say, for example, if a chair is not working or my assistant is on leave or I have to go on, I have to travel somewhere for work or say for a trip, then I have to think 1,000 times if I have my own clinic. But if I'm working as a consultant, 4-5 days or a week is not a time that could not be managed. So for me, that is equally fruitful.
Wow, ma'am. A problem that comes into my mind, I would like to ask you that how did you tackle that? Like being a female consultant, before listening to you, I wouldn't, if I would have a good practice, having a good place practiced with good patient, I would defer to call an female consultant because everyone knows that they are not like very flexible as in males.
Yeah.
So people avoid calling female consultants. So how did you begin your career with, like you told that you wanted to be an consultant, you told that you wanted to be a full-time consultant, so initially it would be very hard to find out clinics and all that, rejections somewhat would be there. So how did you manage that and how did you take that rejections in your life?
So initially, when I decided on being a full-time, so I was doing consultations during my PG. I used to visit a few clinics, my juniors' clinics and my seniors' clinics. But that was not that I was aggressive into consultations. It's just that for when I from college, I would just go to their clinic, the difficulty. After that, when I decided to be a full-time consultant, first, as our seniors do guidance, that you go to multiple clinics, visit them your visiting card, and then you could always tell them that how good your work is. You could show them your cases, and then they would, consider it. But trust me, that does not work because I might have visited some 40 or 50 clinics, after which I stopped that this is not a great idea. And after which I stopped, and none of them have reverted me back from my visiting card. Yes, of course, now I go to those places, but that is because of my reference-based practice, not just because I have been there to their clinic and I have met them, because no matter how much progressive this society it is, but it is always a mindset that because she's a female, she would have multiple liabilities on her. She would be taking care of the home and the chores, and she would not be available on the time that she would have her priority, and she would handle it in the very last moment. So this is what the general scenario is in the market. And I guess it took me a lot to break this stereotype, because starting from first thing, I would always tell them that I would be working on Sundays if you are working on Sundays, because for me, my work was my priority. Bottom line, if I'll not be taking vacation also. I still remember the first year of my consultation, I was working for 365 days a year. I had not taken a single day off.
Wow.
And I would make sure I would be available at each and every point of time. Even if someone would say that, ma'am, I need an early morning appointment at 8 a.m. in the morning, I would say, okay, I'll tell my cook not to come. I'll tell her that I'll order something from Swiggy or Zomato. Don't come. I have to go early to the clinic. So yeah, this is how I manage. Apart from that, being a female, people do feel that, now that I am into consultation, people feel that it is always a better thing because you have that empathy and sympathy towards the patients. So patients are more comfortable with you. But previously, they always used to think that being a female and a consultant is not a great idea.
Yeah, basically the flexibility comes into the questions. We come from an Indian society where male is said to be very flexible, whereas female is not said to be very flexible. Well, uh, actually, you are an source of inspiration for all those girls who are like they are sitting idle or they don't want to open clinic. And guys, just listen to ma'am and look. Okay, it takes some time, but it actually happens. A big round of
It,
applause for
it,
you, ma'am.
it does. Thank you. It does take a lot. It takes some time, but it takes a lot of commitment. Apart from that, you have to really be committed to your work and be consistent with your work. If I'm going to a clinic because they are giving, because I still remember initial days when I was not having this amount of work. There were clinics who have supported me very nicely. So now, if I look and if I feel that, oh, this is a day it's not that I don't take days off or I don't enjoy my life. I do enjoy that very much. But apart from them, when I'm working, if I feel that, okay, this today I'm not in a good mood, or rather I have my different priorities or commitments, I'll not go to the clinic. It's okay, I'll cancel the appointment. If you do such things like that, then they are not going to trust you in that matter. So consistency is the key. You have to be really consistent towards your work and be committed to your work.
Wow, ma'am, your dedication is actually truly commendable. Well, ma'am, keep on breaking ices like this, keep on breaking the stereotype of the society, and keep on excelling.
Thank you.
A team MolarBear wishes you all the very best for your future endeavors, ma'am. Well, ma'am, can you just tell us about your current work and your idea you have to contribute something to the revolution to the field of dentistry? As you told that in your PG days you were very much research oriented. So maybe if you are like now also working on something.
Yeah. So, first of all, currently I'm working as a consultant endodontist at various chains, the leading chains of dental clinics in Ahmedabad. That is, I'm working with Club Dental, I'm working with Tapka Dentist, I'm working with Science at the Dental Clinic, and I'm working with various private clinics which are in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. And I also visit some of the places where consultants are not that much, easily available. So some cities, some far away, small cities where, they don't have an MBA. So I make sure that I do visit each and every place. Talking about endodontics, I feel that it is very underrated, underpaid and undervalued branch of dentistry. So currently, my keen focus is on conducting some workshops where I could, guide students, because what happens is the basic mindset of a freshly graduate is that, say, for example, there is a lower left molar. So what they would think is, while doing the access cavity preparation, there is a mesiobuccal canal, there is a mesiolingual canal, and there is a distal canal. But this is the prevalence which we find in most of the cases, like for 65% of the cases. But what about the rest, the 30 or 40% cases where you could find two distal canals, you could find a middle mesial canal? So I want to break that mindset that the things that we are taught in our colleges is very different from actual private practice. And I'm currently working under magnification, and magnification makes your life very beautiful. So my focus right now is to make people aware about how diverse anatomical variation is. Apart from that, I love documentation. I make sure I document my cases nicely. So because as I said earlier also, endodontics is full of surprises. If I'm going to a clinic, unfortunately enough, everyone knows that I'm working, so they don't have the habit of sharing the pre-operative radiograph with me. So when I go to the clinic, I see the patient, I see the case, I do diagnosis, we end up making a treatment plan, and it is different. No two teeth have same set of anatomy. So I'm very much keen on documenting my cases so that, I could pile up those cases and I could write some research papers and few articles on those cases. So yeah, that is currently my focus right now.
Oh, wow, ma'am. Well, this is a question that I ask to every guest of mine. So, what piece of advice would you like to give to the budding dentist looking to make their mark in the field, ma'am?
The first thing that I would like to tell them is I don't know, I have heard this thing from the recent graduates that dentistry is now saturated. Dentistry is something that is not so rewarding, but it is not the same. Dentistry is very much rewarding, and no matter what, good dentistry is never saturated. There is always a scope for improvement, and you can always upgrade your skills. You should be skilled enough to provide best for the patient. So while you are in your final year, you have to make a choice for yourself. There has to be a subject or two that you are more inclined towards, so that you could always choose your career forward into that direction. So when you are in your undergraduation days, just take the subject and just see what you are really skilled for, because I feel that we are made to do something great, and we are made to do something which we could really excel into. Currently, I'm just doing conservative dentistry and endodontics only, but I feel that one thing that I do, I should be good enough so that there shouldn't be another person who would be doing such good root canals as I am. I don't do prosthetic part, I don't do general dentistry, because this is something that is not the area of my interest. What I would like to tell them is just pick your subject, work on it, and be serious. Because ultimately, you have to deliver the best to the patient.
Wow, ma'am. Wise words indeed. Well, thank you once again, ma'am, for sharing your insights and your experience with us today. Your dedication to dentistry is truly inspiring, ma'am. And keep on breaking many stereotypes, keep on breaking the ices of the society, and keep on motivating our female dentists, ma'am. Thank you once again for your precious time, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you. And thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you, ma'am. Wish you the best. Well, this is your host, Dr. Ganendra, and as we wrap up this insightful conversation, I encourage all our listeners to keep connected with us on social media and keep your ear out for upcoming episodes of the MolarBear. Stay engaged, remain inquisitive, and continue to share your wonderful smile with the world. Thank you for joining us today. Bye bye. Take care.